All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start the Michael S. Heisen Foundation live stream, and I want to make sure that you guys have some easy to follow instructions. Make sure that you like and share this stream wherever you're watching. We are on X, formerly Twitter. We are on YouTube and Facebook. So please, if you want to participate, the place to do it is on YouTube, but you can watch everywhere else. Gonna have a bunch of updates today and some awesome stuff to share with you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Everybody who's showing up, let us know where you're watching from. And yes, we're gonna have a lively conversation, and we want to make sure that you can be part of it by sharing your thoughts, ideas, comments, and questions in the chat section. It's a beautiful time to be alive. We are able to talk to each other even if we're, thousands of miles away from each other, and to be the body of Christ here. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Thank you for, watching wherever you are. And go ahead and let us know where's that. And we're about to start in a few seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Michael S. Heiser Foundation show. My name is Jorge Gil. I am the producer and co-host of this show, but you probably not going to see me a whole lot during this show because the most important person here is our actual show, Drina. So, Drina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. It's so great to be back with you all again. Thanks for tuning in and for getting excited about our Thursday evening live streams.
Yeah, we've been missing a few because, it's been a hectic schedule for you, and we're not going to go into details, but it's been wonderful to see how Thursday to Thursday people are asking about the show. People wanted to participate. We have a great guest, and today is no exception. And actually today we have some awesome updates for you guys. So I'm just going to go ahead on and let you take it from here, and then I'll just pop my head in when I need to do it.
All right. Well, like I said, it's so great to be back, and a few things I want to do, some little house cleaning type things for you guys, just to keep you all informed on what's coming next. Hopefully you follow us on all the social media channels, and you've been seeing the buzz about our first book study we are going to be doing within the DRMSH community and within our Substack community. That is a paywall community. It goes to help pay for things like the production and our speakers and our special guests. And so I hope that you all will go and join the community if you want to be a part of this exciting book study. I just got the books in today, and they are The Unseen Battle by Dr. Joel Muddamalle. And he's a really dear friend of mine. He was a dear friend of Mike's, and Mike was his mentor during his dissertation writing process. And this book covers that dissertation, and you will see little notes of Mike all over this book, and we are really excited. It was my personal choice to pick this book, so our first book will be The Unseen Battle by Joel Muddamalle, and he will be joining us our very last episode for a Q&A, so you guys can throw anything at him. He's really good on his feet, just like Mike was. He knows his stuff. He cites his sources. He is not afraid of being peer reviewed. He really knows his stuff and what he is talking about. And so I'm sure that your questions will be welcome for him, and hopefully you might be able to stump him a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. So please join us. We're going to start in May. The books are in our michaelsheiserfoundation.org bookstore right now. So go and order them, and we will send them out as soon as we get your orders, and then you can start reading for the first week in May. So be looking for updates on our social media channels about our book study we are going to be doing. And the next thing I want to talk about, I'm just getting ready to send out our last scholarship check check to our PhD student that we have been supporting, and it was really important for Mike to want to offer a scholarship, and he never was able to do that, but I kind of made that one of my missions, because as Mike was going through his PhD program, he did not have any help. We didn't have parent help. He didn't have like a lot of scholarships, that sort of thing. And so it is really important that we try to help those who are in the PhD field of theology. And so David Burkett is going to receive his last installment, and that means we are open for some applications for our doctorate PhD theology students. And so we will be putting those applications on the website for you to go and fill out. It's not too rigorous, but you do need a writing sample, and you'll be vetted by probably Dr. Johnson here. And so we'll let you know about that, but I'm really excited to be able to financially support those who are in the higher education for theology. So I think that's all I have. So I'm going to go ahead and bring our first guest on. He is not a stranger at all to you, and definitely not to me. We've been friends. He was friends with Mike for 40 years. And so please welcome Dr. Ron Johnson. Hi, Ron.
Hello. Hey, Adrena. Good to see you.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for being our special guest. As our audience probably knows you pretty well by now, but I'm going to be asking you a question that we ask everyone, and you've probably given this answer many times. And so you can do the Cliff Note version, because those who are watching probably have already heard how you met Mike and what his influence is and his friendship meant to your life. But I want to turn it a little bit. We usually always ask people how you met Mike and what his influence was on you. But I want to ask, how do you think you influenced Mike? And so go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us how you met Mike. Yeah, and then I'm sorry to spring that on you, but I'm interested to know. I don't know that about you.
I would love to know too. I'd love to ask him. We met back in college, so 1981. I was a sophomore, he was a freshman, and we hit it off right off the bat. Met in a stairwell, and as I've told the story, and five hours later, we were fast friends. And so, and by the way, Susan and Janet, Susan, my wife, and her sister went 2 years with Mike up and back and forth on extension from that little college, Pillsbury College, up to the cities. So Susan got to know Mike probably better than I did in college, because she was with him every weekend. But of course, I was talking to him here and there. And it was after college, especially when we went off to seminary together. And that's where I met you. We were in each other's weddings. And we went to seminary together, our first, master's. Then we also went to Dallas Seminary together. All that time, we just found each other to be fast friends, especially theologically. And I think, that's where he affected me was a brilliant theological mind that could put dots together like I'd never heard before. And he was fun. I mean, he just had had that fun laugh about him. He wasn't serious all the time. We talked baseball as much as we talked theology, So that's where he was my best theological conversation partner. I think I was kind of that for him as well. And when it comes to how I influenced him, what the theological world is not good at, and you kind of see this on social media and things like that. It's what I call the drive-by. It's where you just throw something at somebody because you don't like their position, and you say it, and you hope to hurt them, as it were, or kind of make your point and walk away. Or by analogy. And Mike was never that way. I was never that way with him. I mean, we took each other seriously. We laughed at each other, had fun with each other, but we always took each other seriously. And we never doubted our motivation and things like that. So I think I offered him a safe theological voice, safe landing spot for all his ideas. He's full of ideas, obviously. And it's probably the best thing I could offer him. So after seminary, of course, we taught together. And then and because of social media, or because of the internet, I guess you could say, our friendship was able to survive across the miles. And so even though you guys went off to Seattle, I was in Minnesota, emails. It was our dissertation stages, where Mike had that Psalm 82 experience where he, his eyes were opened, as it were, to a DCW. I was shortly thereafter, within a couple months, and that's where I did my dissertation on the same subject almost. And so it was just a constant conversation and a lot of fun along the way. I always remember where I was when, right, certain parts of people's lives, and where Mike called me when he got sick. I remember where I was. Where I was when you told us that he passed away. You can just. His life has mirrored or matched mine on so many levels, and so I take it as a question to the Lord: why is Mike not here, and why am I? That's been part of my wondering. What can I do? And as we've talked, over these couple of years, what can I do to not be Mike? No one can do that, but what can I do to help his legacy, his vision, those who want to learn more about not just what Mike believed, but about the bigger picture that Mike introduced. That's where I want to be part of that, because this is much bigger than just Mike, obviously. And so that's how I fit in. I just love being a part of this world in whatever way I can. So.
Yeah, well, I didn't hesitate to bring you on board as part of the team. You were probably the first one after Jorge that I thought I need on my team, and who better than a sparring partner that Mike had theologically. I know you guys were athletic together. You teased each other about your favorite baseball teams, football teams. And honestly, we followed you guys around. I think you guys were at Dallas you were at Lansdale first, then we were there, then you went to Dallas, we went there, then you went to Minnesota, we went there. So we followed you guys around for a little while, and you were the big brother. And so you kind of forged the way for us and gave Mike opportunities and encouragement along the way. So forever grateful and love you guys so much. Susan's a dear friend of mine, and we had kids together. They're the same age, and so we really have grown up together. And I'm so thrilled to have you as the face of the foundation, and I'm so glad that you're here. So
it's a face that has a new beard. So
Mike would let you know.
I'm trying to go incognito, but
I appreciate beards, brother. I appreciate beards.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you've got the one that we all wish we had. So
I can remember the first time Mike had a beard was so. Me and the 4 kids went to Pennsylvania that's where we're from. So we were living in Wisconsin at the time. And I took the kids away for a month, and he was busy writing. And so when I came back, he picked us up from the airport, and he had a flower in his, for me, and he had a full beard. The very first time, it was like a surprise, because there was no FaceTime back then or video chat. So we just chatted on the phone, whoa. And it's stuck ever since. He never shaved it off, for 28 years or whatever. So I do like a beard. So you look good, Ron. I like it. So
thank you.
All right. So yeah, that's good. Grandkids, they probably like putting their hands in it. Well, I'm going to move into the questions I have for you. And the first one I have, other than the introduction, was the podcast. I know that you and Mike Chu just recorded 3 more episodes of John, and I think you told me you have 3 more to go. So what is going to happen after that?
We don't know. And this is where the joy of working with Mike Chu is that, again, he's a brilliant guy. And I do most of the pre-study of these things. And so when we're going through the podcast, it really is his spontaneous reaction to what I say. And we have a good time with that. And he's a lot like Mike, where I can't offend him. I just tell him my opinion and just have a good time together. So is something we'd love to hear from, frankly, our audience. I mean, we have not thought past the end of John. So we've got 19, 20, and 21 to record next month. And then after that, we're open to ideas. I think I would like to try some studies, some, independent, theological studies or something like that. But the possibilities are endless. You know how it is for theology. One thing affects another. So I would love to hear what listeners want. I guess I would love to go. Now I won't do Revelation. I've made a firm commitment in my life that I just will stay away from.
Well, Mike did that already.
Yeah, I know. So thank you, Mike, for doing that. Because
exactly.
I just have no desire.
So you're free.
But I'm thinking in terms of theological studies, like 2 or 3 weeks on something, and but I don't know.
That's good because that's going to give you guys a break because, as you know, another passion of mine is to publish resource materials for you all. And so we have the Genesis commentary that is in its final stages of being edited for the first time all the way through. And so then that is based on the Divine Counsel Worldview podcast, the very first book study that Mike and Ron did together. And now we have John. They'll be busy writing that commentary. So I feel like these guys, they need a break. So I think a topical studies, a 2 or 3 week, period of studying one topic would be great. And so that's where you all come in. If you have an idea or a question of what they should do next, go ahead and tell us right now. Just put it in the comments section and we'll go through those and let us know what you want to hear next. It's not going to be a book study. So hold off on that. They'll resume that after a few months, but let's give them some ideas. That'd be great.
Sounds good. I would love that.
So back to the commentaries. Okay, so the Genesis commentary, our goal is to have it out in your hands by the end of the summer. So I think that's we're going to be able to do it. That's very doable. And we're going to be doing that. And then the John will come out probably a year later. And so we're really excited about these commentary series, and they're going to be really good. There's nothing like it. They're with the Divine Counsel Worldview spin. And so there is not a commentary out there like that. And so I'm
that's
excited
a good
about
point.
That.
A good point to make is that it's less a commentary in the sense that it's not necessarily just verse by verse, but it is what I would call a Divine Counsel aware read on Genesis. And by that I mean this is what two guys who have given themselves to a Divine Counsel worldview, how they look at the book. And so it might be passage by passage more than verse by verse. There are some verses that just don't need comment, I would say, from a Divine Counsel worldview.
Right.
And some need a lot of comment, that have not received it in standard commentaries. So the word commentary, I guess, is a fine word to use, but I'm thinking in terms for the average reader who wishes, we all look at a commentary and hope that they answer the questions that we're asking individually. And so many times you wish he had gone or she had gone down this path and you don't see that. So I have to say right up front, be ready for it to be talking about Divine Counsel issues within the book whenever it can, and less maybe on a commentary level, but that's to be expected. And the same with John, when we're done, for those of you of our audience who've listened to the podcast, what they're hearing is a read through John with a Divine Counsel aware understanding of how this would be taken. So yeah.
I like that, a Divine Counsel worldview awareness, and you can help us with the subtitle. It is a commentary in a sense, but it's more following an awareness of seeing Genesis again through the lens of the Divine Counsel worldview. So that's really a great term, Divine Counsel awareness. I like that. And so talking about books, there's another book that you're working on. I know this has been a huge undertaking for you, and I want you to update the audience about that. It's a systematic theology. I know that we've talked about it. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about what this part 1, there's a part 2 coming. I know you're excited about that, but part 1, what that entails.
This is, again, sitting at your dining room table after Mike passed away. This was part of our conversation because Mike had said to me when he was still living, Ron, are your theology notes ready to publish? Because he saw that as the next stage of this movement, as to what he would like to see, and that is a theology book that would handle divine counsel issues. And my notes were not ready, as it were, to publish. I knew that. So anyway, Mike left you with a lot of writing for a theology book that he had started, as it were, and you gave them to me, and I've been putting them into now what we're calling, of course, a systematic theology textbook, and it's going to be long because, again, I taught systematic for 23 years in a Christian undergraduate setting. And that's my master's of systematic theology. So had a great love for it all my life. And again, it does not mean, like when you see a Reformed theology or a Pentecostal theology or a Wesleyan theology, those titles always throw me, because does that mean I have to believe, if I'm Wesleyan, shall we say, do I have to believe everything that this person is saying throughout these pages? Well, no, but we would call it a Wesleyan aware theology, right? And I'm finding that to be the case with divine counsel theology, is that, again, it might be a subtitle on our own theology book, that it's a divine counsel aware approach to theology, which means there are some parts of theology, like the arguments for God's existence, which I just finished with this part 1. Mike had written on that, and I've written on that before. So does the divine counsel have a specific view on the arguments for God's existence, the cosmological argument, those kind of things? And I would say not really, but you're hearing me and Mike talk, as it were, through this section from people who are divine counsel aware. So that's how I'm taking it. Yeah, so it's 15 chapters, and it's going to be handled. This is how systematic theologies work. They work by subject matter, not books, right? So it's God, man, sin, salvation, church, last things, Holy Spirit, Paul, Jesus, those kind of subjects. And there's everywhere between 5 and 15 usually subjects that a book like this handles. And I've chosen 15 topics or 15 chapters. It turns out that the first 4 chapters, Introduction, God, or Bible, God, and Gods. Notice how divine counsel aware that chapter's got to be. Mm-hmm. Those 4 chapters by themselves have turned out to be about 300 pages. So that's going to be part 1.
Awesome. That's great.
And then part 2 will be chapters 5 through 15. And I think it'll be less, per chapter. So, I'm not within arm shot of my theology books over there. Probably have 45, 50 theology books, and the one that I could grab if I would, it's 1,100 pages. And guess how many pages he gives to divine beings? Out of 1,100, he gives 9 pages. Wow. And to me, that's the what we're undoing in this divine counsel aware systematic theology is saying, wait a second, we have missed in our standard theologies usually, and Mike always complained about this, that when he went to Bible college and seminary, angelology was kind of this, oh, by the way, let's give it a few minutes kind of thing. But so that's why these first 4 chapters are 300 pages in length total, because we're giving a lot of time to the subject of Elohim, Theoi, and just this concept of what is a divine being. So, yeah, now that's it's done in the sense that it's a pile of paper on my desk, and I'm reading through it, making edits as I go. This is common for anyone who writes. You see where you want to change a word. So I've promised not just you, Drina, but I promised my wife that I'm done by Monday the 27th. That gives me 4 or 5 days to finally just say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to hand it over. So that's this weekend will be an intense, final draft, as it were, and we're going to hand that off to you, Drina, and then I'll start working.
And then I've given you the summer off. So have fun.
Right. So
have fun.
I've already been working on the other chapters, but now
I'll
concentrate on those. So
right. Well, the other question I had regarding the systematic theology book is, how did you keep Mike's voice in this book? Good
question, because Mike didn't write it knowing that he would pass away, right? Mm-hmm. So you're getting some very unedited thoughts that aren't finished sometimes. And I want those to be in the book. And so there will be numerous parts, like the arguments for God's existence. He did spend some time on that. And so I'm going to, that's a good decision I had to, or that was a decision I had to make, but I think I made the right one. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to just, in the book, I'm just going to say, here is Mike's material, and just say, Mike said, and just let it go. And so a person can hear Mike again after maybe not hearing him for a couple of years. You're going to hear something that's in no other book. There will be other times that I'm going to be, tag teaming through the book with him, and you won't, as a reader, necessarily know, is this me or Mike? Mm-hmm. There will be other times it's just me, because again, Mike didn't write on something. So to quickly answer that, or to answer it in the most direct way, I'm going to be giving Mike a voice whenever I can, for the sake of the audience, so they can know the following 15 pages are Mike's thoughts on this. He had a long discussion on the humanity of Jesus. I don't know why he chose that one, but he didn't deal with the deity part in his, the part that he gave me. But again, he didn't know he was going to pass away when he handed it to me, or when you did. So the humanity of Jesus will be another section in the book that is just going to be Mike, and I'll make some comments too. But it's beautiful work.
Awesome. Well, there's no other person that could write this. And so thank you so much for doing that. Mm-hmm. Now we have a guest of Ron's to come on, and he has been doing an incredible thing with your Daily Dose of Bible that we released into the community for the first time. And so why don't you go ahead and bring your guest in, and then you guys can just talk. So take it away, Ron.
Yeah, thank you. And this is Robert Hatfield. Robert, you live down in Grant, Alabama?
You are right? Correct. Yes, good. Sir. And Robert, and help me if I'm wrong on the timing and just, the background here, but you contacted me. It's been months ago now, having gone through or listened to the Daily Dose series that we put up in the community. And by the way, that was recorded. If you ever saw those, that was recorded for my church. I had been working with my church over the years. It's a larger church, and I got to be good friends with one of the pastors who would just come to me every summer and say, what do you want to do this fall? And I would do different studies for adults and things like that. Well, we hit COVID, and she said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I've always wanted to do this, because I had seen a math teacher on YouTube write on a window and then teach. He was doing math. And I thought that'd be great for theology,
I thought Norman Geisler did that too. Did he?
I don't know. I never saw him do it on a window, where again the computer flips the image, so it looks like I'm writing with my left hand, but I'm actually doing it with my right, and the computer just flips it. So I'm writing and I'm seeing what I'm doing, and then when the person at the church, when they took this work and we gave it to our church for free, our people. And every day for 5 days a week, weekdays, it would come out every morning, and I would stay a couple days ahead, and I would go downstairs. It was just in my basement in one of my rooms, and with an iPhone, and I just sat out in front of the window, slide behind the window, and talk. And usually 3 to 10 minutes per session, and it was a chronological walk through the entire Bible. How do I say this? Nobody knows how much time I put into that but me. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but if you never saw it, you never saw it, I realize. And even if you did see it, I'm not very good at just coming on camera and talking spontaneously. So I would do 2 or 3 or 4 takes usually before I was satisfied with even how it looked. And by the time I was done each of those times, the amount of cinematography was almost more than I could handle, because it was just so much time put into that. But my burden was that when I dropped it, when my last time that I recorded, I threw it away. I was just so tired of doing this every day for 2 years, and I thought it was done. In other words, I put a lot of time into as far as how I taught through script. It wasn't a devotional. It's not a devotional thing at all. It's much more this is the story of the Bible, and I would always prepare it that way. So anyway, I'm sorry for taking so long here, but what Robert did, as he saw those, he contacted me and said, hey, have you ever considered putting these into some kind of a transcript and then using them for Bible study? And that's where, again, Robert started doing it and showing me the
aftermath of it.
The aftermath, I guess. So let me just hand it to you, Robert. How did you come upon this, and what have you done with it? And can you show us some examples?
Yeah, it started, my adventure to kind of going into learning about Michael Heiser was, I had a good friend. His name is Austin, and I was a big Tim Mackey fan of the Bible Project. And I listened to the episode with Mike and Tim said, I ride my bike every morning to work. And he said, but I listen to the Naked Bible podcast because I know that that's the most exegetical information I can ever get on my way to work. So I started listening to the Naked Bible podcast. The next thing I'm doing is taking classes on awakening. And so I'm taking Unseen Realm 101 and 102. And then I stumbled on Ron, took OT orientation, New Testament orientation, because what was fascinating was, Ron was giving it from a divine counsel point of, angle. And that made it so important because, I wanted to see how all these dots connected all the way through Scripture. And so, I took several classes that Ron taught on awakening. But then, I saw the videos of Daily Dose, and I remember the first question I asked you. I don't know if you remember this or not, but one of the first questions I asked you was, Ron, do you still have those transcript notes? And he's like, no, I threw them away. And I was like,
I tossed them out every time.
I said, oh gosh, you threw away gold. I said, you don't realize what you've done, because it's at least once or twice a week whenever you're on the Divine Counsel Facebook group that somebody's asking for a commentary that's got divine counsel, point of view. And, and I thought, hey, let's just go at this a little bit different. Ron's already done the work on the front end. And so I'm going to just take it from the backside and take those recordings. And yeah, it took me a little while, but there's like 252 videos, ain't there, Ron?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So like 200. So I was taking each one of those videos, and I was just, keeping them in order on my folder on my MacBook. So I was just getting all those transcripts, and then I was just taking those transcripts and developing those into notes. And wow. the project and Ron also, Ron, I'm sure you could probably mention this, but Ron was like, where's it's filling in, there's a lot being said here, and I don't remember me saying that much on some of these. And I said, well, I just inserted the text in certain spots. And I said, that's the reason it's beefed up. And like you're going to see tonight, there's some of them that's, it's much bigger, as far as like our Genesis one, that after I got finished with it was like 166 pages.
Wow.
So, and my favorite two that I've looked at, and I've kind of just went behind the scenes to make sure the video, there's nothing on the transcripts or on the notes that Ron didn't say. So I want to make sure that there's no fluff there. And so I'm making sure everything that Ron said. And then, of course, I've got to go back through them and get some of the graphics that go with them, because those are just important as just the words. And are
you able to show your screen and show us a little bit of what you did? Or?
I think we're having and I'm not even on the screen, but Robert, what are you going to do? You're going to try to show us your computer, or is there a way that you can share your screen? Because you can actually join muted on your computer and share your screen.
What I'll do.
So let's do that. Okay. While you do that, I'll let you two keep talking while me and Robert figure this out. All right. And then he can share his screen. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, Ron sent me a couple samples of Robert's work today, and You guys, it's not just running transcript. I mean, there are boxes and thoughtful things that are broken down and put into, like, organized into, when you see this box, you know it's gonna, you know, what a question's going to be asked or something. I didn't get to read through it 100%, but what I did see, it looks very appealing visually. So it's not just a running transcript. He did a lot of work in kind of like graphics with it as well. So it looks really good. And I see another book coming with these things. So
my guess would be, based on how I did it and what I was, the audience to whom I was speaking every morning as I recorded these, I was speaking to Christians who are intent about understanding the Bible carefully. So my guess would be these could be used for adult Bible study materials, especially, again, from a divine counsel aware point of view. So nothing I'll say will go against a divine counsel worldview. Much of what I say will be directly divine counsel material. And so, well, now when you're going through Proverbs, do you have much to say about the divine counsel? Sometimes not. But again, it's it was the labor of 2 years of working through the Bible as much as I could, with a divine counsel worldview in mind. So,
and who would have thought? I mean, that would come to the DRMSH community, and then a lot of the contacts that I have that Mike had were just people who wanted to take what Mike was doing and do something else with it. And I just appreciate the people out there who are really passionate about what we're doing, and they're creative, and they use their time for free, and they do these wonderful things that aren't even on our radar. And I love that. That is how the body of Christ works. That's how we work. And it's such a blessing, and it's amazing.
Okay, so we're almost there. We are almost there. So let me go ahead and bring it up on to the screen. So I need a couple of minutes. So you guys keep chatting for a second while I work my magic here on the back end. So let me go ahead on and do that right now. Let me see if I can get this screen on right now. And yeah, I think this will take over. And let's see, guys. Let's ask our audience if they can see that.
You're the master. There it is.
There you go. All right. So you guys go ahead on and take it.
Yeah. So you can see here, it's just, it's kind of like, if you go watch these videos on the community, you can kind of follow exactly right along with these notes. And as Ron did these, I thought they were just like kind of basic overviews, but when I got really into them, I noticed that they were very in depth, and really you could tell that Ron had spent a lot of time on those. So as you can see, you have, a historical, overview and historical context and kind of the idea there. But as you keep on going down in these, you see the importance of why the idea of the young men that was chosen. And notice in that text there, I have highlighted some of the things maybe Ron had said, without blemish, good appearance. And then if you notice here, let's see. Let's see. Okay, so let's take, for instance, the Daniel's resolve, and you notice the verses at the top, but notice the notes that go underneath the verse, and you have that Daniel's refusal to eat the king's food is one of the defining moments of the chapter. Two possible reasons are, number one, they're in Babylonian captivity and they can't follow their kosher diet anymore. And most importantly, from a divine counsel point of view, you have dedication to idols and to the other, deities. More likely, the food has been consecrated, offered to some other Elohim, maybe Babylon, particularly Baal or Marduk. So as you can see, and then you go down a little more, and then if Ron drew something on the board, I would take those and I would, take a box and, edit these, and I would just make sure that he had, hey, this is a important note, kind of taking it and saying, this is important for like a DCW view. So what I would do is just put this in a box, and as you can see, it says eating food sacrificed to foreign gods was considered an act of worship towards those gods. Daniel's refusal was not merely a dietary preference, but it was an act towards covenant faithfulness. So that's a big deal, And it all the way through. So this is not just chapter 1. As for instance, this one is 42 pages long.
Wow.
And it's on the book of Daniel. And of course, one of the things I remember when I was watching this is from chapter 7. I don't know if you remember saying this, Ron, but you said this is possibly the most important chapter in all the Old Testament. And when I did that, I wanted to make sure when I created these that was the thing that I emphasized on, and the importance of that.
Well, so, look, it's settled now. Since Ron said that, he's going to have to do the book of Daniel. Now, that's it, man.
He's got a good start anyway with these. I mean, again, I didn't create anything. I just took what Ron had already done on the front end and just developed notes from them. So, and
thank you for your work.
Yeah. So I just did it because I saw the value in it. Now let me go to another example here real quick. Everybody loves the book of Job, and I've had a lot of people ask me about, you get onto the DCW Facebook group. Everybody's asking, hey, what's the best commentary for Job?
Yeah.
What's this? What's that? Well, really, I mean, if you just watch these videos and follow along with these notes, you definitely understand the book of Job from a divine counsel worldview. So, and as you can see, it's the
Make sure you maximize the screen. Make sure you maximize the screen.
There we go.
There you go.
So as you can see here, you have the heavenly court scene, the divine beings, the B'nai Elohim, our created divine beings, members of the heavenly court. I mean, all those things are, what Ron has said. I just inserted the text and
amazing.
So, they're really good as far as, if you want to take them and just walk through the book. And I mean, I just don't, again, I think there's, when I told Ron this, I said, I think you're sitting on gold because these are so valuable. Because everybody's either wanting, on the DCW Facebook group, they're either wanting a study Bible or a Bible that has notes at the bottom of it. And, that would take a long time to do. But you can take the information that you're given here and see the value of it. I mean, you can just follow right along with your Bible on the right-hand side. And I've chosen to do
it is like a comment. It's like a commentary with footnotes to go through the books. Yeah.
So you have completed the entire Bible. Is that right, Robert?
I have completed the entire Bible. I have also completed every one of the Q&As that you did from the follow-up from this. There was 32 Q&As. And
by the way, that is happening inside the DRMSH community. So you need to be a part of that. Just go to drmsh.com. And then you can click on community or go to the foundation. You can access it there as well.
Yeah. So for instance, let me maximize this one and show you real quick.
Robert, how many pages is this? Do you have a page count?
Jorge,
I'm looking
said,
at, you see what's on my screen? This is
just to clarify, Jorge. This is Q&A from the Daily Dose. This is not Q&A from the John or Genesis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This was with the Daily Q&A for within the community. That's what I was trying to convey.
Yeah. So this is when people, like Ron did this in certain stages. Like he would cover Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and they would ask certain questions just pertaining to that book. So I took each one of those and developed notes based off of those. And so like this one, this is just Q&A session 1. It's 27 pages.
And I don't remember doing this, so I'm glad to see this, frankly.
You notice I don't take any of the credit. I don't say, hey, this is my work. But if you notice what I do, I give it all to Dr. Ron Johnson. And that's the way I put it in there. Dr. Ron Johnson aligns with the common stream and biblical. I mean, I'm always writing from that point of view that it's not my work. I'm not doing it to make money off of it and trying to scam anybody, but I'm doing it because I see it as gold. And I think it's very important to share or for it to be done.
So what we've not decided, Drina, and maybe we're doing this live in front of our own community, is saying, what do we do with this?
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What do you think, or how do you think this is going to be distributed to our people and to the world? Like, do you see it as a print thing or just a digital thing, or what do you see?
Well, I mean, Ron and I have talked about this, and he says, you put a lot of work into this, but I'm just here to kind of help the foundation and anything the foundation needs. And if it wants to be a donation based and, starting out with whatever donation they can give.
Yeah. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can tie it into the community. Maybe we can do both, and we can do. I'm always thinking about stuff like that. So, Drina, maybe me and you can get together and work on something where we do some sort of community-driven initiative, and also we'll figure out to do some exclusive prints as well, and do both, and then make it available in public later, and that creates that momentum to get people to support us. Because remember, guys, when you support a community, this is something that is an ongoing support. If you buy the book, it's once and done, and the community is going to be much cheaper than buying just a book in terms of what are you going to feel? Just stop drinking one of those fattening lattes that you drink and join the community. That's it. It's just $9.99 a month, and that goes a long way. Believe me, when it's 1,000 of you guys helping, it goes a long way.
One thing that I wanted to show is, definitely is the Psalm 82 passage. And
I wonder why.
So, I've always been interested by this passage as well, and but as you can see, Ron had already did the work on the front side, but I just kind of, took it to the side and did all the connections and developed extensively by Dr. Michael Heiser. And as you can see, as you go down, you have key Hebrew words, Elohim, and I probably would lowercase that, and Ron probably would too, but some of the other stuff, you have, what's the major themes in Psalm 82? What are you looking for? And these are the things that you would, the divine counsel is real, created beings are accountable to Yahweh, and so on. And then you come down and you start to see the New Testament connections, especially one that Ron made that I never did see until I started doing this, was the Acts 17, 26 and 27, where Paul simply says, and he made from every nation of mankind to live on the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place. But there's a hina clause there right after that, so that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way toward him and find him. Some translation says that they may grope after God, grasp after God. And I think, once you start seeing all this, it's just mind-blowing to see, okay, hey, this is, and it's, you got some verse by verse. Maybe I skipped through that, but you have here the verdict, 6 and 7. This is the heart of the psalm. I mean, this is straight Ron's words, but I mean, it's almost like we have, he and Michael think so much alike. So it's almost like having Michael here as well.
That's great. That's great.
So, I mean, it did take some time, but I see the value in it. I mean, there's places I'm like, I wish Ron would have given me something here on this verse, but that's very few places that I found throughout the whole Bible that Ron doesn't address in some way. Sometimes it may not be in the certain commentaries. For instance, let me take you to like a New Testament passage. or New Testament commentary. So the New Testament books. Let me show you an example of this. So I developed Q&As off of it as well, but let me maximize my screen here on this. So the book of Colossians, you have background and historical context, and prison epistles and talking about those things. But there's some things that maybe when you look at it and you say, well, I'm looking for something on maybe Colossians 2:14 or something like that. And Ron addresses that, but let's say there's a verse or two that Ron doesn't address. Well, in the Q&As, that seems like the ones that they're asking Ron questions on. So you may not be in the Colossians commentary, but you may have to go through the Q&As to find them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great work, and I try to pick a font that was good on the eyes. I love the dark mode on Microsoft Word. I love how this looks really good on Microsoft Word.
Hallelujah!
But it's in dark mode.
How long did this take you to do?
Probably 3 months, 4 months from.
That's it? Wow.
That's a lot of work.
But you
months.
put a lot, every day you were sending me a long time.
Yeah. Now that you said that about dark mode, I have actually seen some phenomenal negative Bibles where the words are on white and the pages are in black. Maybe we can find something like that and do some deluxe versions of this.
Now,
my mind is always spinning for things like this, man. This is phenomenal work, bro.
Me too.
So, if you take these commentaries, say you get the PDF and you just upload them in the Notebook LM, as you can see in the right corner, it says Notebook LM.
Yeah.
And it's going to just take all the information and kind of give you a summary of what the book's about. And again, this is AI, and there's good uses of AI and there's bad uses of AI.
And we got a good team of designers that we can actually put, some work into it to make it fully custom, and AI can always reduce costs and expedite the process without, being totally fully AI. Because we want to make sure that we do something that is going to outlast each one of us because it's kingdom work.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed the work, and it's, I think it's beneficial. I think anybody could pick it up and read it and not be confused. I think that's one thing that Ron does very well. He's a very good communicator. So, and that's why this is so useful, because, the stuff that Ron says, he wants to try to minimize it to its most logical and common parts, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ron is really good at storytelling, and he's really good at talking. I'm not down, but bringing things down, and in such a way that's inviting and fun to listen to. And I always liked watching him do the Daily Dose of Bible and how he does that. So, well, thank you, Robert, so much. This is invaluable, and I know Ron feels honored with this.
Absolutely.
And
thank you, Robert,
that you would do this just on your own. And thank you so much for doing that. It's going to be invaluable for the community and the foundation. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to show you guys something, because Robert brought up Psalm 82, and I have this in my office hanging on the wall here, but this was my final gift for Mike's last Christmas. And I don't know if you can see that, but it is a page out of 1611 King James Version, authentic, and it's Psalm 82. So this was Mike's last Christmas gift that I ever gave him. And it's hanging in the foundation office, so I love it so much.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm drinking a Diet Mountain Dew in Michael's honor tonight as well. I know every time I've watched him on YouTube, he's got a Diet Mountain Dew on his stage. So I thought it would be good to have a Diet Mountain.
He and his brother, Diet Mountain Dew all the way.
Yeah. So yeah.
And tea. He drank a lot of tea, a lot of hot tea. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jorge, if you have, has anybody asked any questions, or is there anything else that you want to say to close us out?
Yeah, well, honestly, the chat has been just paying attention and giving us ideas, so we have to come through all of that. I think
Okay.
I just want to go ahead and thank Ron for all the work. I mean, I know that you did that for your church, but it's just amazing work. I know I'm actually catching up on the Daily Dose of Bible clips, and bro, Robert, this is phenomenal stuff, man. Thank you for all of that, man. And now I got your number, man. I'm gonna pick your mind, because, by the way,
Watch out.
Yeah, no, pick your mind, because this is phenomenal work, and this is something that I learned from Greg Kokel. You don't pick your brain, you pick your mind. That's what vultures do. Pick your brain. Okay, so let's learn how to say pick your mind. But no, I think that what we want to do it now. I want to say a few things just to make sure to continue to get the Foundations book that is delivered in the 10 Commandments. We still want you to get a copy of that. Just go to the Foundation website and click on the store. You can get it there. Drina, I got some samples of the new merch for you too that I'm going to be sending you. I actually got some already there. And I want to make sure, I want to let you know too that I just put together a team, because we're going to do a complete overhaul refresh of the community as well. It might take a month, it might take a month and a half, but we're already working behind the scenes on the servers to do that as well. So it's going to be phenomenal. And for everybody who are here, if you join the community, like I said, there's a lot, the value that you get. So this is one of the things that I had to explain to someone about what we do with the community. The community is not tit for tat. You sign up for the community. It's not like Netflix that you're gonna get a bunch of movies or whatever, or Amazon Prime or Hulu or whatever. You're joining the community to help us. And everything that we produce that we can put over there behind the paywall of the community are bonuses that most people on this side of the fence might not get until later on. One of the things that I learned from Mike was that what he was doing sooner or later will end up out there for free, because he was for the people. But as someone told me one time, if you think that you don't need money to do ministry, you haven't done ministry in a very long time. And that is just the reality of the fallen world that we live in. One day, when we have glorified bodies and we are in glory with the Lord, we're not going to need that. But for now, we need support. And one of the best ways for you guys to support us is just to go and join the community. With that, I don't know if you want to say other words. I want to thank our guests here, and I'll give it back to you, Drina, and then you can close us out.
All right. Well, thanks again, Ron. Thanks again, Robert, for being with us for this hour. I really appreciate it. And just thank you. And I just want to remind you all about the Divine Counsel Worldview Conference.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to hear Ron again, he's going to be one of the speakers at the conference. That is going to be at the Flatiron Community Church West Campus, and that is in the Denver area, Denver, Colorado, October 9th and 10th. So I have a meeting tomorrow with part of my team that is putting together the event page so you all can sign up and register. And so we're having a meeting tomorrow, and we have some updates for that. So be looking on your social medias and checking the website in the next couple of weeks so you can sign up for that, and just to see what all is going to be offered there. We have vendors going to be there. Dr. Joel Muddamali is going to be there. Dr. Ron Johnson, we have Dr. Doug Van Dorn, and others. And it's just going to be a great, great conference. We have worship music planned and food. It's just going to be great. What can be better than food, worship, and study? So it's going to be an exciting. Oh, and in Colorado. I mean, with those mountains, yeah. And so please support us in that. Please try to be there. The only way we'll be able to do more is if we have your participation. There will be some scholarships available. If you can't afford the scholarship, the registration fee, I don't know what that is yet, but please just keep it on your calendar and try to be there. So thank you for being here tonight, you guys. I love you all so much. Thank you for your support and your encouragement. And we'll say goodbye now.